4, 3, 2, 1.
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm looking at right now, you're looking at for the first time. I'm looking at the first time. I can't even get my intro out right now, ladies and gentlemen. But we are just super excited for one and two reasons. Number one, of course, is that we are all back together. We're safe. Everything is good.
Yep.
But the Dodgers just won the World Series, guys.
Los Dodgers. Woo!
It's done. It's over. The curse is rocked. We've actually got one. We are all over the place.
Only took 4 seasons.
Los Angeles is celebrating 2 championships this year. The first time since 1988 when Earl Hershiser and Magic Johnson and all those guys won. It's time to celebrate, guys. It's time to celebrate. And you know what? You got on a mask. This is what the hell is going on with you?
For those of you in podcast land.
That's Chris. What the hell is going? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in podcast land, if you're in podcast land, you got to jump over to the YouTube station. Go ahead and type in American Lunchbox Podcast into YouTube, and you're going to see what we're looking at right now. It looks like Chris decided that he's going to tell us what the hell are you wearing?
Well, George, I got a gas mask because, as you could hear from outside here in LA, it's starting to get a little rowdy, so I'm getting ready for the Dodgers riot, and/or the general protesting and tear gas, and/or the California wildfires, and/or the fact that we're going through a pandemic, or maybe because it's just Halloween. Happy Halloween.
Oh man, I got nothing for that one. Here.
Oh
here,
man!
Let's see if we're gonna put that on. Let's see
this guy here.
I'll put my VR goggles.
And then
Well, look! I can see our views climbing. Well, look at that.
Yeah, if Trump wins, Tim will never take off those VR headsets again.
Oh my God, man! Hey guys, this is
funny.
This has been a quite a week. We've been looking at this game. Last time we met, it hadn't even gotten started yet, and now we're looking at a Dodger World Series winner.
Long time coming, right?
A long time coming. $200 million salary. We won't even get into the logistics, but man, LA has 2 championships in 1 year. I'm all over the place with just that alone. I'm just so proud of these guys.
I think the Dodgers coach Roberts is really, really happy that he doesn't have to give a press conference explaining why he took somebody out this year or his own decisions. That's the other guy's. That's the other guy's problem now.
Yeah, I was interested to see the little after party for as soon as they won, and I've never seen it where there was such a sense of relief among the jubilation.
Yeah,
it was like a weight off the back.
Well, it was definitely anchor seemingly holding them down for the last 4 years, and it was the same conversation, just like Tim said. It was the same conversation. Basically, what the fuck happened? You had it, and then you lost it.
Right.
In fairness to them, some of those losses they were being cheated against.
Yeah. Some of the losses, I think. For them, they were beating themselves, much like what we saw back in game 3 when they could have won game 3.
Game 4.
Oh, excuse me, game 4.
Yeah, that was a comedy. That was a comedy
for whoever didn't see it.
Yeah, great game, and it was the first time. In a series that I've seen or that I've heard that the third base situation led the whole game. Just a series before, we had seen a play that had never happened at third base. Remember, we had seen Justin get 2 out, a double out from tagged him out, jumped in front of the guy, and now in the World Series, just the opposite against them. They see a third base play, same situation for the most part, go wacky, and now it's like. Now they lose in the last 30 seconds of a game. So we've seen some great baseball played. Great highlights, great baseball. But I don't know if you guys know this or heard this, but Justin Turner, the redheaded third baseman, right? he was pulled out of the game because he was tested positive for coronavirus.
I think it was hiding in that weird beard of his.
What the hell is that all about? So, I mean, if he had coronavirus in 14 days, quarantine, that means the whole team may possibly have it at this point.
Right.
If he had it.
Wow. The Tampa could say, hey, we were feeling under the weather.
They want to replay.
Yeah. When you brought up the fact, the point off air of the asterisks, I was trying to thinking of how much the asterisk little icon looks so much like the coronavirus. They visually look the same. So I'm not saying that, though. I'm happy the Dodgers won. I'm considering this, because there was fans in the stadium, I'm considering this a real World Series.
Right?
They did have fans there, distance, but they were there.
It was witnessed. It was witnessed.
Yeah. The guy with the mullet in that one game that caught the ball, that was definitely a Florida fan. I don't think that guy would be walking around in LA. Well,
you know what, Florida, man. We're not even going to talk about Florida right now. But what else? So we're going to party all night. I know Los Angeles is going to have a great time with this. We have 2 championships. No parade, of course, because of the coronavirus. No celebration.
Oh well, I don't think that'll stop anyone.
No legal celebration.
Right? I saw people partying in the bar, shoulder to shoulder, but with masks after the Game 1 win. So I would imagine tonight's going to be pretty wild.
It's going to be wild. I mean, they're going to break all the rules tonight. We're going to see a hike in 14 days. We're going to see a hike in COVID cases because of this, but.
They were in the bubble. How did they get COVID? They were in they did a bubble for them.
No, I don't think they were in a bubble.
Oh, they weren't?
I
think they were a modified. I don't know how much of a bubble they were in.
I think some people were coming in.
Yeah.
Some people were coming in. Yeah. Some people chose not to be in a bubble.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't know exactly how that worked.
Yeah, it's not a bubble if it's broken.
I thought it was weird that they had different stadiums, but I mean, they still had stadiums and people in there, and it just, I don't know. It seemed like you have all these. They said that they had these precautions, but they didn't seem like they were real precautions. It's like this
just like the rest of our country,
right?
Yeah, basically. I mean, feed us what we need to hear, but show us the game. Fuck it, you know? Do what you got to do. We'll much like everything else, we'll just pay the consequences later. We'll just pay for it.
I'm actually really selfishly, I'm really happy the fans were there, because for whoever doesn't know, I understand baseball somewhat on the decline, but the playoffs for baseball have been fantastic for about 10 years now. And I think part of that is HD TV, because when you see in the first inning a 0-0 game with both the batter and the pitcher sweating nervously, it just so much adds to the drama and the tension. And the crowd being there is part of all of that. And it started great. Dodgers kind of dominated there towards the end, but it's a real good series, good games. And it's been like that for years now. Like it's worth watching. Even if you're a Laps fan, watch the baseball playoffs, or at least the World Series.
Yeah, I thought for the Dodgers they played really well. It was theirs to lose. And that Game 4, I thought, oh crap, here we go. They're up to their same old, minor league ball here. But no, they pulled it out, or not pulled it out, but they got their stuff together. They just dominated from the beginning. Their pitching was outstanding, and there's nothing to say. Oh, by the way, Chris, who was your prediction for MVP?
Kershaw.
Nah.
Most relieved.
Corey Seager.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. Kershaw needed this win. This win.
Well, Kershaw just needed
a
win in general. I mean, he probably single-handedly was the main reason why they kept. Well, I shouldn't say he was not the single-handed. That's what everyone is saying he was. But as far as the bad luck is concerned,
right,
it was him not ever finding his groove during the World Series, and it just really. Got everyone off to a bad start, and you can't overpitch him.
I hear those. Horns
I hear the horns.
Yeah. I mean, man, you're gonna hear it all over here. Helicopters, horns. You're gonna smell the weed that's going on over here in a minute. It's a party downtown. It's a party downtown.
Well, it's a good thing you don't live on the first floor.
Good thing, because they'll be coming through like the battle ram of the '80s. You know how the police was coming through the house with the battle ram. That's how it would be. But I got my Dodger blue lights on behind me, That's just to celebrate. There's the fireworks. I know you guys see that shit.
I picture George going down the elevator tomorrow morning, and when the doors open, he just sees a burnt out lobby.
That's it. It's just done. The whole city just done. But go ahead.
Speaking of Tim saying it's the Dodgers' game to lose, it can't be. We can't forget what just happened in this game and why the Rays lost, which is the guy was pitching a 2-hitter, and on the second hit, the manager freaked out because there's a new culture in baseball that's based on stats and Moneyball, and Tim knows probably a lot more about this than I do, but there's a culture in which people get pulled out after the third inning now just because. So this guy was hot and doing good, got pulled off after the sixth because there was one single onto first base. So by them pulling him out against his will, the lack of confidence, I guess you could say, was smelt by the Dodgers, and they jumped on him like a pack of hyenas, tore him up.
Yeah, and then of course, look back. And then of course, the manager's it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback or Monday morning coach in this case. It's easy to say that. It's like he's under his pressure. If he'd have given up a run or a home run, then they would say, well, why didn't you pull him out earlier when he was showing any sign of staggering? But you got if this guy's pitching a 2-hitter, you got to give him a little bit of shot here. But then he'll come back and say, oh, it's game 7 or it's game the final game of the World Series or whatever, and he's under pressure. So yeah, who knows? I don't know if this was necessarily Moneyball, but I think there's definitely money involved in it.
This is how bad that the pitcher felt, Snell, when he got pulled out. He was protesting the decision after he'd already been pulled out. Now, for people who know baseball, know that once a pitcher gets pulled out, or anyone gets pulled out of the game, you're not allowed to get back in the game. So he was so upset that, knowing this, he was still chewing his coach's ear off. Let me back in, coach, was kind of the vibe I felt from it. But that's an impossibility in baseball. Once you're out, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Well, he probably had to give that verbal. He probably had to give the visual and the verbal, so that folks would know what his stance was in the situation. You know what I'm saying? In other words, he's not going to go on record saying that it was a decision that he agreed on, pulling them out. But also too, I'm reminded. I'm going to switch gears here a bit, but I'm reminded of watching the Lakers with the Zen Master. What was his name? The Chicago coach. What was his name?
I know who you're talking about.
Knicks. What was that?
I know who you're talking about. I can't. I'm blanking on his name. I'm blanking on his name right now. He's a famous guy. Hold on.
Yeah, he coached.
Phil Jackson.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Phil Jackson. I'm reminded of seeing Phil Jackson watch the Lakers play and play horribly and refuse to take out anyone of the starting five and make them play through it. You're going to play through it. I'm not going to save you from this. You're going to work through this and you're going to get it right. And seeing that, I used to always wonder why, but I get it. Sometimes you got to allow a player to play into a groove, build up the confidence. And also too, you got your fan base. You got to give them something to cheer for. It's nothing like seeing a pitcher go down and strikes the next inning, comes back and just wear the next team out. It just gives the fans something to cheer for the player, instead of just saying, "Oh man, what if he'd had 2 more innings, or what if he'd had?" Because at this point, what do you have to lose?
Right.
At this point, you have a game to win.
Right.
Well, also it's late in the series, so once you pull out a starting pitcher this late, he's not coming back. So all you're going to do is wear out your relievers if there's going to be a game 7.
That's it.
By the way, somebody wanted to say hi.
Oh, he's wearing the Dodgers blue collar.
There
you go.
What for those of you all who are listening, Tim just brought up a good pal.
This is
what is her name and his name?
This is Duke. He's all guy. He's all man.
Oh, he's all dude.
He's all dude. He's a dude.
What's going on, Duke?
He's very scared right now because of the noise and the fireworks and all the idiots in the world.
Yeah.
The dog is whiter than Justin Turner.
I know. Put him on dye his hair red at the top or something. Call him Justin. Get him ready for Halloween.
I think he looks like the bad guy from Harry Potter, Malfoy.
Oh, Malfoy. Yeah, he
when
does.
When he puts his ears back, he's very evil. All right, Dookie. Okay, I gotta do a podcast.
Oh man.
What, you want to say something? Want to
What do you
comment?
wanna say? Come on, Duke. Hello, Duke. All right. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Now we have to give a special guest to Duke now on the credits.
Okay.
For showing up doing the podcast.
I got my other dog wants to say hi too, but no, we'll pass.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's too cute.
They are
cute
cute.
over
They
there.
are cuties.
All right. So anyway, so now, okay. So what's else been going on, guys? I mean, look, we didn't know that we were even going to have a podcast. We decided that we were going to, if the Dodgers won, we were going to come on here and do this. But shit, we don't even really have shit to talk about. What's been going on otherwise?
I could tell you some Venice stories that happened to me in the last week.
Oh my God.
Lord, man. Well, you sent me a picture of a guy opening his car with a shovel.
His car or someone's car?
Or someone. We assume
sure.
that it's his car, but it could have been someone's car because the guy who looked like in the picture didn't look like he owned that type of car. And I'm gonna stereotype the guy.
He didn't even own clothing. He was half naked.
That's what I'm saying. He was half naked. Half naked. You know,
there goes the crackhead that I see each morning. The same old drugs and crap to sell.
Basically, Tim, how was your week this week?
It was interesting. Left one adventure, started another. I'm in a new position now, and actually it's kind of funny, Chris. You got to bring up the weirdos in Venice now. I think the neighborhood of my new job has got some. It's not as bad as Venice, but you kind of get down a little towards some of the areas. It's there's definitely their share of homeless and crack dealers around there.
Absolutely, man. That's that Culver City, Venice Boulevard area. That get pretty weird.
It had some character.
Yeah, and I grew up down there when we first came to Los Angeles back in 84. Excuse me. When we first came to Los Angeles, we lived on Venice and Hauser Boulevard, where my aunt was staying. So that whole area has been transformed. I went to junior high school right up the street. I used to walk to school, but back then it wasn't necessarily the homeless problem. It was the gang problem when I was a kid. It was getting to school without getting your sneakers taken away, or someone asking you or demanding you to sell these drugs on the way to school. That was what my issue was in that neighborhood during that time. But
it's kind of like Girl Scout cookies, but for the hood.
That's it. There's definitely Girl Scout cookies, and boy, they come out in droves for that cookie. Boy, they knock on your door for that cookie. They be like, yeah, early in the morning. I said, didn't I just give you some cookies last night? And he'd be like, no, I needed some more cookies tonight.
I can see you standing outside the Ralph's. Excuse me, sir. We are selling heroin, crack cocaine, and marijuana, and it is for our school project, a big trip we are taking to Washington, D.C.
But yeah, so I definitely know about that Venice area. I definitely know about that Venice area, and shout out to all of my West LA hood boys and hood girls who live in that area back during that time. I still have some associates I still talk to today that we used to our old stomping ground over there. So.
And shout out to the guys like me who gentrified the West Side.
Right. That's right. Yeah. You guys came through and didn't bring a whole bunch of money, but you definitely bought some white. You bought some white shit, but not the green shit. But that's all good. That's all good.
Oh, that's funny.
Chris, what happened with you this week, brother?
Okay, well, speaking on racial things, this is a weird one. I was walking on the beach, and I see. You ever see a black seagull?
No, I haven't. No. I've only seen white seagulls.
They're like real dark gray to black color. They're rare.
Oh, okay.
Well,
now, that sounds like a
It sounds like a racial joke about a setup for a racial joke.
It kind of is, but it was it really happened. So
Right.
I see a pack of only black seagulls, but they have 3 white friends.
Oh, nice.
I walk about 10 minutes on the sand, and then I see their neighbors from across the tracks. I see a group of all white seagulls, 3 black friends. I don't know what to... I mean, I think this stuff goes a little deeper than human society.
So, was that your first time seeing the black seagulls packed in that way?
Yeah. I never saw so many in one place, and they each had 3 friends of the opposite color.
That's
Each
interesting.
group.
Only in Venice, man. Only in Venice Beach, Los Angeles, California, man. Only in Venice Beach, man.
You can make
Only
you,
in Venice.
you can make
Okay.
you can make it of that as you will, I guess.
Yeah.
This is what happened this week.
Fuck it. Well, listen. My week was.
Yeah, George, how was your week?
Thank you, Thank you,
I appreciate.
Tim.
Yeah.
Nobody ever asked me about. No one ever asked me how my week was.
No, I
and
never
shit.
did. I never will.
Nobody cares about what happens to
No.
battle.
No.
No, actually, yeah, my week was pretty mellow. I decided to work more hours at my employment than I should have. But me being the team player, decided to sacrifice my own time to give to them. So no one feels sorry for me. No one says, you know what, good job, Battle, for stepping in here on your off day and taking care of this task. But I digress.
How did that make you feel?
Well, I tell you like this, brother. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and it is just a reminder of how much I hate working for the white man. It just makes me say to myself, what am I doing right now?
well,
Earning a paycheck right now. That's it.
Well, unlike the other 2 members of this podcast who also work with me, I love the area I work in and also love my job. So.
Clearly, we don't work in the same department.
Great success. High five.
Very nice.
But let me just say this for the record. I enjoy quite what I do. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I'm a firm believer of you should never do anything that you don't enjoy doing. I enjoy what I do, as I've been doing it for a long time. I have no problem with the work. Work is not ever the issue. It's not and it's not even the people either, because I enjoy working with the people that I work with as well, even though I work alone and self-managed for the most part.
Yeah.
It just comes a time when you have to look at businesses as corporations, and sometimes you have to understand that the bottom line is that this company really doesn't care about you per se. It doesn't care about you. It cares about what you do, and when you don't do it, they decide to get someone else to do it, or do it better, or do it faster, or do it whatever, or do it more efficiently, whatever. And that's how companies work. So when I reference the white man, I'm not referencing a person that is white in a box as white man. I'm talking about the corporations and that represents, of course, what would be corporate America, and that is owned obviously by white men.
You're talking about the sands of your life ticking away into an hourglass that doesn't belong to you.
So poetically spoken, my good friend. Touche. So my week was interesting. But I'm still in it. So what else now? Did you guys see Trump walk out that interview?
Yeah, but I mean, we're going to kind of do what he wants us to do, which was talk about it. I mean, that was probably planned or half planned.
Well, I think the interview was almost over anyway, to be honest with you. I don't think for a second that he didn't. He gave her 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more than what Trump would have given the whole press in general when he does his press conferences in the White House. They're not even more than 20 minutes.
Yeah,
So-
it's
so-
just a last second publicity thing because he's he even though people might call him a baby, it might expose more people to the Hunter Biden Joe Biden story, which still is not being properly covered. So got people talking, and the currency that he deals in is attention. If one thing that the presidency showed is that he didn't care as much about power as everyone thought he did. He actually just cares about attention, and that attention train. And that currency he'll need to keep high stock on whether he wins or not.
And he
because
will.
As we know, his mentality is pivot and always have a second option. So that second option is probably be worked on behind the scenes just in case he doesn't win. You think he will?
For sure, he's going to keep that currency going, regardless if he wins.
Do you think he's going to win? You think he's going to win the presidency?
Honestly, I do not know.
Well, we're a week out. What's our predictions? We're a week out. What do we think?
I wish I could. There's no way to properly judge because of the media. The media is not giving us information, much like it did 4 years ago. It didn't talk about all the lines that people in Middle America were standing out hours and hours and hours, just like you see now.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't see any of this footage.
No, my dad told me that this morning. He showed me he was early voting and the line was long. And for a small town, that's like, and when you go through that town, it's almost all Trump signs.
So it's kind of hard to judge. I can go on my feelings, but if I go on my feelings, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. As a matter of fact, it doesn't mean anything. And that's how Hillary got stomped last time because everyone went on their feelings. And I'm just reminded of that skit of Saturday Night Live, sitting down, everybody looking at TV, and everybody's, with
Dave Chappelle.
He's not even remotely fazed by it.
He's like,
well, it could be again that more people, because of the cities, the popular vote is even higher, and the electoral count is even lower towards Trump, which would be dramatic as well again. But as we know, the popular vote and $1 might get you a can of Dr. Pepper out of the vending machine. Maybe. I mean, you maybe need 25 cents to go with that $1.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this question. Obviously, I don't think we're going to have a decision next week, Wednesday or Tuesday, about the week from now. What when the votes are cast and everything is decided, and let's say Trump wins. I know, George, you're not a fan of him. Chris, I don't think you really care one way or the other, or you'll take it or leave it.
I don't have animosity towards Trump.
George, what would you do if Trump won?
Much like I did when Trump won the first time.
Get a tax cut.
Keep continuing to do what I do. Let me be very, very, very clear about. Sorry, that's.
Okay,
it's okay. Go take care of that bear that's in your backyard.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
The bear's back. George's house was being attacked by a bear. Not me, but a real bear. Right.
Let me be very clear with this statement. All right. Since I was 18 years old and able to vote, I have voted. And I have encouraged my children. Every time that one of my children became eligible to vote, I went with them personally to vote. So I have 4 beautiful daughters, and 3 of them are eligible to vote. And the first time that they voted, I walked with them to the ballot box, and I saw them vote for the first time, because people have died and given their blood for Black people to be able to vote. Now, the truth of the matter is, the higher the vote, in my opinion, the lower trickle-down politics become more diluted for me on an individual basis. Most people don't realize that 55 years ago, Black people could not vote for the mayor. Black people could not vote for a congressman. Black people could not vote for a judge. Black people couldn't vote at all. They couldn't cast a ballot in any way, form, or fashion. So when you look at the presidency of the United States, for me, I don't really see a lot of difference in my daily life as to who's been president since I've been able to vote.
Right.
I just don't see it. So, Tim, when you ask me a question about what I'm going to do, I'm going to continue to do what I've always done. I'm going to own a business. I'm going to have an employment. I'm going to have a savings. I'm going to have a 401k. I'm going to do everything that I can do economically in order to push myself so that I'll be able to have more capital, so that I'll be able to do more. Because in this country, the more money you have, the more you can do.
Yeah, it's a good point, because the federal government is kind of not in your day-to-day life as much as your state and local governments are. The federal government has to do a lot with what's going on overseas, because states don't act independently overseas, except for like California sometimes. But it's people are putting way too much of a fatherly figure or motherly figure into what they want the president to be, and overanalyzing what that means for the rest of us. I mean, in the case of Trump, he's so ridiculous, and he's so much with social media that, we could kind of draw some conclusions from his presidency, or you could pay attention to some major trends based on the way that person's either leading or failing their own party. But your day-to-day life, just suck it up.
Yeah, but also too, but Tim, just to elaborate just a little bit more, I do care about who wins, because that person, I do want to believe that person has my best interest in mind. I do want to think that the president of the United States is a proper representation of me and what it represents, the United States, and what will be the American dream, or the American vision, or the American direction that we're going to, because it's a top of the ladder of leadership. It is the highest level of leadership, and if the leaders always decide what direction the boat is going to go in, and if you can't,
So do you identify more with the guy who might be dying of old age, or the guy who's been crazy for about 50 years?
Biden or Trump, one of the two. Right?
I mean, if you're saying that you somehow feel like they're a representative for you personally, I mean, do either of them? Do you feel kinship to either of them?
Right. That's my point. That's my point. But for the sake of understanding the process, yes, I'm going to participate. Absolutely, I'm going to participate. But it goes back to the very first question we had when we first talked about this on maybe episode 5 or something. Is this the best? Is this the best that we could do? The two candidates are the best candidates in the entire country. Is this it? Is this?
Well,
is this
I mean, there was a vote on it. They had their primaries, and this is what the electorate decided. Now, I mean, they also nominated Hillary, and we saw how great that came
actually,
out.
Tim, in this case, there was an incumbent on one side, and the other side just selected their favorites.
Right.
So I don't know if there was votes on both sides this time around.
That's true.
There was a very limited amount of people who chose.
Right.
We got exactly right here.
But getting back,
let's ask Trump if he's going to win or not. Do you think you could actually pull this off, it being down by so many votes? Oh, I had to change your battery. Sorry about that.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's Trump again.
Nice.
There's Trump again, fucking up.
But getting
my
back to what
8-ball Trump has died.
But getting back to what George was saying about the presidency's never really affected me. And normally I would say that. I mean, it's like I've worked my entire adult life. I've managed to stay fully employed in the entertainment industry for 20 years now, which is an amazing, I think.
You could thank the go-go boots for that.
There you go. The what?
No, what? Never mind. Go on.
Okay. And yeah, normally I wouldn't really care who wins. I mean, other than, like you said, other than just, this is the side that you're rooting for. It's kind of like sports. It's like, okay, hooray for our side. I'm glad the Dodgers won, but if they lost, I mean, yeah, I'd be pissed, but I'm not going to lose that much sleep over it. So normally that's kind of how I think of the presidency. I've been through Republican, I've been through Democrat, but I think just in this last year, I think we've seen what happens when we elect somebody who is incompetent and cannot manage themselves in a crisis. Once in a while, the president has to make a decision that does affect the rest of our lives, does affect our day-to-day. And we've seen what happens when Trump is in a crisis. And yeah, say what you will about Biden, about his background. Yes, there's some questions about it. But I mean, who would you trust more in a crisis?
Alzheimer's disease?
Possibly. The question you really have to ask yourself, for those of you that haven't voted yet, is who would you trust more in a crisis situation right now?
Trump. I would trust Trump in a crisis situation. not a health crisis situation, but are we talking about war or are we talking about the health?
Period. Anything.
Well, there's different situations. If it was a health thing, he's shown that he obviously shit the bed completely on this. And who knows if this is going to ramp up indefinitely forever, because now we're hearing that you could catch the fucking thing twice. But if it's a overseas situation, his foreign policy's been great. So it matters what you care more about or what affects you more. So
let's say there was another
houses.
Let's say there was another pandemic.
The domestic situation affects everybody more for the time being, because with the overseas stuff, if everything's going great, there's nothing to look at. It's kind of like the magic of editing in a way, no pun intended. Is that the overseas foreign policy has been decent under Trump. No one really talks about that, and we didn't even have a debate that would discuss that. But on domestic issues, Trump has no problem adding gasoline to any fire he sees for thrills or a laugh. So I don't think there's a one size fits all, and that's the problem with the two-party system. There's just not one person that's going to cure all of our problems.
No, I agree.
And like George is saying, yeah, it's kind of the culture of our country that we are fucked repeatedly and find a way to solve our own problems because no one else will help or care. Sorry to be a downer.
No, but
George,
you're absolutely right.
George,
no, it's the truth.
George, I am curious about one question, just on a personal level, not just to fill time here on the podcast. If Trump wins, let's say it's by some shady shenanigans like he did the last time. There's some, are
you calling the Electoral College shady?
Something. I'm just saying. Let's just
it's
say
Electoral College.
Let's say
it's shady.
Let's say
the Electoral College is Electoral College. We all agree this is not a democratic government. This is a republic, and we have to have the electorate.
Okay, let's say it's revealed that there's some interference by some foreign entities that really.
Well, it will be revealed whether or not how true it is or not, because everybody's already padding their own losses on this one.
But what
you're really saying is, let's say if the excuses are out there the next day. I mean, is that? Sorry,
no, it's not so much the excuses, but I'm kind of curious to see if let's say that you have the African American vote they go out there, they jam the polls, they stand in long lines to go out there and vote. You've encouraged your children to go out there and vote. If something were to happen in this election where Trump wins and it's maybe it's by a narrow Supreme Court decision or something that's not exactly doesn't exactly give him a legitimate win, but he still wins. Do you think that will disenfranchise future black voters?
That's a good question, and my general answer is that no, it will not. It will not disfranchise them. We have a tendency in the black community, because we've been disfranchised for so long, and we put our hope in so many. We don't have real big expectations when it comes to the federal government as much as we did back in the 60s and the 70s. Our thing is grassroots. Our thing is we have to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps at this point. We are hoping that someone, of course, that is in the White House at least has a tolerance to listening to our issues, our concerns about over policing that we've had many topics about so far, and just liberty and justice and the American dream and taking ownership for a country that we built for the most part, and not feeling like we don't deserve it, and then reaping the benefits that everyone else has had over this time. So we're hoping, of course, that whoever is in office would lend us that ear to agree that this is something that we deserve. But at the end of the day, what we're going to do mostly is what we've always done. We look at a situation and we fight on. We fight on in a way that we work together more closely. We take the losses and we make them wins. And that's what black people have been doing ever since they've been in this country.
Wait, Tim, why would it disenfranchise black voters if Trump won?
Because maybe I would think that maybe something.
It's not like he's actually talked bad to them. Like, if anything, he's been desperate and to get even a fraction of a percentage point up in the black community.
I would think
he's
I would think
courted their
because
vote heavily and kind of
he's done
probably
a bad
not going
job.
to succeed in it, but he's definitely not made any like he's not done a Mitt Romney like fuck off, I don't need you and you won't vote for me anyway. He's not done that.
Well, hold on for a second, Tim. I
Go
think what Tim is talking about is his response to the George Floyd situation, the response
Exactly.
that he has had with the civil unrest, the response to the protests, the fact that he will not call white supremacists, stand down, stand back, stand down, to all of these, these kind of, that's what I think Tim is talking about. If we go out and we vote against him because of how he has responded to these things, how will that then be interpreted by the black community, and will that hurt the black community if he still wins? In other words, even after this, he still wins.
Seems like the biggest group suppressing the black vote at this point is the DNC. I mean, how many times are you going to come around and say, oh, well, we love you so much. Wow, we're going to go to the black church.
Agree.
Oh, every 4 years. Look at this.
Listen. You don't have to. We know already the DNC has been giving us that carrot for 16 years, for sure, for 16 years of my own political. I've heard this whole song and dance for a long time by the Democrats, but we're not talking about the Democrats right now, because again, at least the Democrats pretend like they care. Fuck. I mean, at least they do act as if they doing.
You're looking for the girlfriend experience from the Democratic Party.
That it's better than being bitch slapped on the side of the corner.
It doesn't seem like Trump is bitch slapping. It seems like he's begging for love and approval.
He's begging for it in his rallies. But when it comes to him taking a stance, when it comes to him actually going and saying Black Lives Matter,
but he's not going to say that.
No, of course not. When if he would say white supremacists exist, and he denounces white supremacists, now we have a conversation.
Yeah, he has said that.
He has not said it.
He's said it a number of times. He's said it publicly a number of times.
Right.
This is a big problem with the way that Trump's interviewed. Like, if you stick the mic in his face and he, in the moment, is Trump and refuses to answer your question because he doesn't like your tone, and it gives him very bad optics, and then he denounces it like 5 times after that. But then every time the mic is stuck back in his face, the reporter plays ignorant because they think they're going to get a rise out of him and says, you didn't denounce. But no, you didn't denounce. And then he says, yes, I did. But yes, I did. But no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Can you do it again? I mean, we have bigger problems in our country than white supremacists. I understand they're violent. I understand they're dangerous. I understand they could rise up. They train with guns, but they're also like, how many people? 100,000?
But see, you're talking. But see, what you're missing. What you're missing is what you're missing is, and I understand what you're saying as far as.
I think corporations are a lot more deadly than the Antifa or the white supremacists at this point to the general population.
And if you're looking from an upward stance, if you're looking from the bigger picture, you're probably right. But we're talking grassroots efforts, and in this country, we're talking about a systemic problem that's in the fibers. We're calling out white supremacy now, but it's white supremacy that has led this country over the last 400 years against black people. So we're talking about it now. We're talking about it now because of the organizations that it represents. But if you had talked about it 50 years ago, it would have been the KKK. If you would have talked about it before that, it would have been white slave owners. If you'd have talked about it before that, I mean, so white supremacists.
It just seems like it's getting more and more of a boogeyman because the threat is being less and less of
No,
it's
not a boogeyman. No.
Well, I mean, when you have black congressmen and you have a black president, I'm not saying that cures all the ills.
No.
We definitely have progress. We're not
We're not talking about progress.
Say
We're
it's
talking
built
about existence.
into. So say it's completely systematic, saying that there's no way anything could ever change. Well, that's not true. Over time, things have changed and gotten better.
Nobody said that. Nobody
you're
said
saying
you're
saying the word systematic.
It is because it is systematic. It is a system. It's systematic racism. But
then you're kind of saying it's irredeemable. You're saying it's so built into the code, the fiber of it, that it cannot be.
No,
that's what a lot of people are saying, George, and that's why people are using that. But people using that terminology are saying that.
I'm not saying that at all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it's a slow burn. I'm saying it takes time. I'm saying yes, it has gotten better, but there's still symptoms of the same problems. Listen. We've been talking about police brutality for how long in the black community, and it still exists. Those are the things that will affect us in our day-to-day lives. When I get pulled over by the police, it just sends me right back to when my father got pulled over by the police, and when his father got. I mean, you see what I'm saying? This is how we walk. I'm not talking about the big. I'm talking about when I walk to the store. This is my life.
Right, so we have an issue with policing and over-policing, but then I think that argument gets like transfused into every other segment of our civilization, and American history is just so much more rich than just this as the only thing, which seems to be the narrative that the media is pushing. I'm not saying you're pushing it, George, but you're using the terminology of the people who are pushing it.
I know, and listen, I get it, but it's a voice, brother. It's a voice, man. It's a voice, and it's a loud voice because it affects so many people. And it's like
I would be skeptical too. Long. If I had to deal with it more, I would be more skeptical too.
I mean, God, it's like, bro, when it's like at certain point we don't want to talk about this anymore. We want this to be a problem of the past. We don't want to. I mean, who wants to keep drumming this same shit up about police? And it's just old shit. We should be so further beyond. But when you get police holding black men down and shooting them and it just sends us backward. It just sends all the efforts backward, and it puts us right back the issue back on front street.
But that's always going to happen, because there's going to be a couple assholes every year who do some dumb shit and act like it's Grand Theft Auto in real life, run up on the cops. Like the other day, guy with a knife ran up on the cops in Philadelphia. Cops roasted him, hit him a lot of times. Couple lessons learned there. Big one: don't bring a knife to a gunfight. But seriously, the aftermath of that was massive rioting, people running over cops with cars. I mean, we've had this conversation before, and it's not that we shouldn't have it again, but it's just such a bad look to pick the wrong hero, or to pick the wrong... if the guy was going nuts and running up on the cops with knives, what should they have done? Should they be like, hold on, I'm holding my gun, but let me get my taser. Wait a second, let me get a lasso, citizen. Like, at what point, like, how close do they have to be with the knife? And if the response is so much more violent and planned than the action that the cops took, how does that garner any sympathy for the group who is rioting in the street?
And Chris, you're probably right when it comes to certain things, but here's the difference. And keep this in mind. What would those cops have done if that person was a white male?
They probably would have roasted him too, with a knife at his face.
I don't think
George,
so.
Someone's coming to you at a knife with your face?
I don't think so. And that's the problem, Chris. But
white guys get roasted too. We just don't see a bit in the news.
We've seen white people curse cops out. We've seen white people.
But a gun to the
breaking into cars with shovels,
be forcible against
open
cops
car
in
doors
every
with
single
shovels,
way,
and
run their cars. I mean, we've seen them be forcible. We've seen we've seen white people act a fool with cops, and cops, ma'am, sir, it's how they respond. They don't see white people as a threat. You see, the difference is that when white cops see black people, especially black men, they see them as a threat. They fear, because that's the only reason why you pull a gun on a person or shoot them is out of fear because your life is in danger. So when we talk about being able to subdue, and we talk about techniques, we talk about talking people down, we talk about basically saving lives, we talk about saying, okay, maybe this guy was on drugs. And how many cops does it take to bring down one? When we talk like this, then we understand that who's on the ground. And we say, oh, wait a second. That's a black dude. That's a black guy on the ground. Oh, I get it now. It's 5 cops and 1 black dude. Oh, I get it now. So what I'm talking about, Chris, what I'm talking about is an understanding of how police have been trained, how police think when they see certain types of characters, whether it be black, white, Jew, Gentile, they respond differently. If I'm in Beverly Hills, a cop in Beverly Hills is going to respond differently from a cop in LA because they've been trained differently.
Could it also be the personal experience, the type of criminality they've experienced and who does it? For instance, we just watched baseball, and when a lefty comes up to the plate, the infield shifts over because there's a lower percentage and a higher percentage that he'll hit to certain gaps that he wouldn't have anyways. Could it be that maybe it's a bias thing on a group level, but I don't know if it has to be on a cultural level, maybe a little bit.
No, it doesn't have to be on a cultural level. Hold on. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Well,
not for policing.
Could it be that they see?
Not for policing.
Oh wait, we've had 10 violent crimes in the last month, and 7 were black, and now I'm just gonna, because of the bias of the situation of the criminality I'm seeing coming into the fact that I work with criminality every day, that there is a higher likelihood of some shit going down.
That's called stereotyping.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is it a taught thing, or is it just that on the ground floor they are seeing a higher criminality that happens to be black?
No, it's a training thing, bro. It's how they come out of it. It's how they are trained.
So there's something in the manual that says, oh, if they're black, this is how you treat them?
Yes. Listen, I used to work at a record store. When I was in college, and they trained us when black people come in. When they come in, you watch them around. This is when they sold CDs. You watch them around the CDs and the cassettes.
Was that due to a higher level of criminality?
No, had nothing to do with criminality, because you know where the most death was in the rock section, because white people would come in. Wait a second, hold on.
I live in Venice, so there's a lot of white theft in here.
Hold on, I'm gonna make this clear. I don't want this to be lost.
No, go on.
No, because black people did not steal from that store. It was white people who stole from the store, because we were in a predominantly white area. So what you found is that white people would come in and they would slice the CDs and take out the CDs from the boxes in the rock section, the doors and all of it. So no, black people didn't have the opportunity, but you know where the CDs, we know where the rock was? Back on the right-hand corner, around the corner. But you know where the hip-hop and the rap was? Right at the front door. In other words, all of the rap and the rap CDs and cassettes were positioned right at the front door so that we would be able to see them from the counter. Now, what I'm telling you is that this is my reality. I worked in the store and I had to be trained. I was trained this.
Right.
That when black people come in to the store, watch them in this area. Pretend like you're stocking. Pretend like you're doing something. So I'm telling you, hold on. So if I'm telling you that on a retail level, and I'm sure that if you work for Gap, if you work for Abercrombie and Fitch, if you work for Macy's, you probably have the same kind of training. And if that happened in retail, could you imagine what happens when you are talking in an academy with police officers? You don't think that they had training about how to deal or how to take down or what to expect when dealing with black people?
No, well, first, real quick, in terms of white criminality, I'm not turning a blind eye to that. Like, I live in Venice. There's a ton of white criminality, like all the time, every day. But in terms of it's actually quite diverse amount of criminality here in Venice.
I know. That's why I love Venice.
We got a very diverse community. of criminals. Well, you know what they say, Venice Beach, where crime meets art. But
it's a smash up. It's a smash
George,
up.
If you get it trained by some security guard in a private business, that's like one thing. But some of this might be culturally passed down from cop to cop. But it's not like this is exactly being written in a manual of here's how you discriminate different races.
Shit.
Because the city would get in a big trouble for that.
But the
bigger the city
spoken.
is, the more eyeballs there should be on the problem.
It's spoken, bro. It's spoken.
This is oral tradition?
It's training. Yeah.
Or like a tribe oral history?
Come on, bro. You know how this shit works. This stuff, you don't say certain things on purpose.
What I'm saying is...
you say hip-hop. You say rap. But you know who
Okay.
you're talking about. They didn't say black, but they said if people come in looking for hip-hop or black or R&B, you know what they're saying. Fuck, man, get the hell out of here.
I'm actually
I never worked retail other
here.
than... I never worked
But I
retail
appreciate
for like
your
a
name.
major company like that.
Listen, one thing is for sure, I
That
appreciate
is
you
kinda
being
funny.
as naive as you are. You know, but this is a black experience, bruh. I've been in this shit all my life. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, I've been stopped. These police officers, they know, they see me, bro. When I was a kid, and even to this day, when I get in my car, I turn my head around when the police come because I know, bro. When I have a hood, I take my hood off so they can see who I am. And I'm an old dude.
It would be a funny experiment to put you in like a Borat style, like a white face or like a white mask, and see if you do all your regular things and if the cops bother you as much.
Yeah, no, they ain't gonna.
Yeah, I'm looking at a stat right now from the LA Times, and it's it's actually kind of eye opening. Is that basically it's that black men and boys are 2.5 times more likely to be shot and killed by the cops.
Per capita.
Than their white counterpart. Now it just says 2.5 times more likely. It's by 1 in 1,000. 1 in 1,000 black men and boys in America can expect to die at the hands of the police. They said that's let's see. That's actually better than winning. That's actually better odds than winning the lottery.
So some of it is, George, culture can go both ways. Some of it's culture, iconography, or what they view. I mean, I know I used to get pulled over a lot when I first started driving. And then once I got a minivan and kind of had a receding hairline, I could do whatever I wanted on the highway. Like I could, if the exit was closed and the cop was right there, I could take the exit in the minivan. Because they just thought I was like a confused dad. I never got in trouble while driving a minivan.
I would venture to say the same if I put on glasses and wear a shirt and tie. I mean, it could go either way. But my point is that it shouldn't be that way. That's my point. That's
But
it.
Isn't that just a life thing? Does that have to be strictly a racial thing? Like if I was dressed
it's not a life thing. It's not a life
darker
thing.
clothes or looked more pissed off, but if I had the flannel shirt, that's not threatening.
No, man, you're white.
And if
privilege.
I had the blue and white flannel shirt, the Dodgers just won.
There it is, right there. No, man, we can't deny your white privilege, bro. We can't deny your white privilege, and we can't deny the fact that black people are stereotyped and
I'm not denying it. I'm just saying the one size fits all solution of make this right hasn't worked. Yeah. Because we obviously have local politicians here saying make it right, but it's not being 100%.
No, because what most black people don't realize, and I'm gonna say this, and then we got to get out of here, man. It's almost our shit, man.
Well, we didn't even know we were going to talk about any of this.
Hell no, that's the problem. We go on to these issues, man. But listen, what black people don't realize, and I say this very generally, is that whenever they cast a vote, let me back up because I want to be clear about this for all listeners. It doesn't matter if they're black, white, or anything, Latino, Asian, Native American, Polynesian, whatever. Your vote, your vote has only one objective, and that is for you to be able to hire a representative that will create legislation on your behalf. The only job of a politician is legislation. That's it. That's all they have to do is create laws. Now, what laws they create should represent the constituents that put them into office. Now, if you're voting for a person because you like how they look or how they talk, then you need to go to their record, and that is where the problem lies. We need to understand
pandering's a big business these days. Not a lot gets done.
We need to know every voter should have a list of what laws your congressman, senator, statesman, woman,
Governor.
even all the way down to your mayor, your city council, your superintendent of schools. You should know exactly what laws they passed that year, and that will give you an indication of where and what their politician or where the emphasis lie and what they care mostly about. So
here's another problem I see, and it's not just with black and white stuff. Is that sometimes when I in California go into the voting booth, I see an election that's Democrat versus Democrat, and I purposely never vote in those, because if you're not even going to give the illusion of another choice, that's just a one-party election. And part of the problem is that in those situations, you'd have two groups of people that are in the same party, and therefore during the election, maybe not challenging each other enough to even do any changes. So you just have two people who are both willing to pander but never truly get any opposition, and it happens in rural places too with Republicans. So I mean, anyone out there, you see a one-party election, don't vote in it. That's my advice.
Well,
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. What do you say, Tim? What say ye?
What say me? I don't know. Blah blah blah. I haven't talked in a while, so I'm just killing time.
Yeah, I know. You're just engineering over there and shit. You just
I'm the
fucking around
engineering
with
guy, So
where's Duke, man? What's up with Duke, man?
Duke's out, he went for a walk.
Sorry to go so heavy during this. This jubilant Dodgers win episode.
I know this was the thumbnail is just going to have the Dodgers and shit, and we talk about all of this other shit. So,
well, whoever tunes in will get an extra treat.
Come for the
trick or trick.
Come for the Dodgers. Come for the racism. I mean,
for the racisms and the isms.
Well, one thing's for sure: everyone calls each other this ism or that ism. But I give this to the voters out there: if you vote for the Dems, you're not a communist, and if you vote for the Republicans, you're not a fascist Nazi. So, sorry, George, I demonetized us again with that word. But everyone do go vote because it's important, and it's not compulsory. But even if you vote Ronald McDonald, it's good to at least know how the system works and to get out there, and we won't be mad at you no matter which way you choose.
That's right, because that's your privilege. It's politics. It has nothing to do with the human, with the human that you are. It's politics, and it's totally separate. Departmentalized, guys. This is the reason why this podcast is so successful, is because you have three guys who's been knowing each other for almost 10 years, over 10 years, worked together in several different environments, did personal projects together, and at the end of the day, we can look at each other and say, "That's my brother right there. That's my brother right there." Regardless of his politics, that's who we are, and that's how I see each other. I don't see them as, oh, this is this white dude from Queen. No, because it doesn't matter to me, because I know this guy here and I know his qualities, and same thing for this guy over here. I know his family. I remember this guy when he was single and looking for a dream, and et cetera, et cetera. So we've gone through so much together, and we're friends and we're brothers.
Right. And speaking of white guys in Queens and baseball, I do have a little bit of a rant against Mayor Bill de Blasio, if you wouldn't mind.
No, please do. We're going to do a Joe Rogan today. We're going to go 3 hours, man. Fuck it.
Sorry, Tim. I'll be quick.
That's all right. Whatever.
We're going to do a Joe Rogan. And plus, yeah, go ahead.
So Mayor de Blasio, everyone on any side of the political
And that's our
spectrum.
show for today. And we want to thank everybody. No, I'm joking.
Thank you, guys. And
Iceman.
Ice.
No, go ahead, Chris. It's all good.
Mayor de Blasio, who's universally hated by anyone of any persuasion, far, left, right, or moderate, has been meddling once again. The Wilpons, who have run the Mets somewhat mediocrely, are about to sell the team to Mr. Cohen over there in Queens, and they want to revamp the Mets, which the fans have desperately wanted for a long time. The problem is the city field where the Mets play exists on city ground, and Bill de Blasio has to sign off on the deal, but he's holding up the deal. Why? Who knows? To be a dick, because he can, or maybe because he wants a little something. And this is why, among other reasons, people hate him, because he represents the worst stereotype of a bureaucrat, whether you like government or you don't like government. He is like a Ghostbusters villain. He is the type to get in the way of big ideas, not because he has better ideas, but just to be in the way, to stand in the way of greater men and greater ideas, to look and see. Sorry, I started reading because I forgot the rest of the rant offhand. Sorry. So basically, he's just flexing power, and all this viciousness is hidden, as usual, behind the veneer of caring about community. So please, Mayor de Blasio, for once, please get the fuck out of the way. Thank you.
I hope the mayor gets that too. I'm gonna cut that up and send that straight to the mayor too.
Yeah, well, I got in trouble one time for never mind. Go on.
I remember that. I do remember that too. By the way,
I'll bring that up on another episode.
Yeah, that's a great story too. By the way, the federal government. But anyway, yikes. But anyway,
remember
guys,
when we said the federal government has no involvement in your day-to-day life?
No, they will knock on your door. They will knock on your door. Yes, and Chris will tell you. But anyway, see, that's what I'm talking about, guys. That's what I'm talking about. See, this is the friendship. We've had this friendship so long that we actually have stories about each other. Like, I remember that story. I remember you saying to me, "This is the fuck what just happened." This was. So anyway.
Hey, speaking of stories, real quick, and to test our friendship, can I give a shout out?
We're not at this fucking shout outs yet, Tim.
I know, but I have one. I have one that I want to get out there.
Almost.
All right.
Oh man. But so hold on, because speaking of Joe Rogan, hold on, because since we already gonna go fucking deep anyway, fuck it. We already at fucking an hour and 10 minutes. So if whoever's listening now is saying, "Oh shit, they're gonna continue," yes, we're gonna.
It's
continue.
not like Tim has to go to bed or have his new job in the morning.
And it's not like I'm supposed to be clocked in already anyway. So, but that's another story. But so I said,
finish my encodes for me.
Yeah. So listen. So Joe Rogan does a 3-hour fucking podcast. Okay. Now, we're not even in the same space as Joe Rogan at this point. But fuck Joe Rogan, because he doesn't give me anything to push for. You know.
What?
As far as what he has to offer in his podcast, I want to do more and better.
I understand. Yeah, I'm a little more apathetic about life, so the comedy and fuck offishness of it is perfect for me.
Yeah, you know, it just his show. Okay, well, this is not about the Joe Rogan show personally. First of all, I'm just saying, I'm just talking about this right now because it just pisses me off. What the hell is going on over there?
Our show might. I think our show fell off.
Spit take.
People, he's having a heart attack over there. Go ahead, get out of here. Go. You all right, Chris? You're turning blue and shit. You're turning blue and shit.
Oh man.
What the hell? Oh my God. Get it together. All right. You all right, brother? I don't know. All right. I'm gonna keep. All right. So anyway, Joe Rogan interviewed Kanye West for 3 fucking hours the other day.
You got Alex Jones today as well?
Out for 3 hours. I mean, who does an interview for 3 hours and expect for anyone in their right mind? I mean, unless, of course, you do that. I mean, I won't even look at Shaka Zulu, which is a 3-hour film. I won't even look at Roots, which is a 5. I mean, it's like, why would I? I mean, you gotta. It's like, why are you setting the? I don't understand as far as formatting. Why would you set something up like this so that
George, we could do it as well. we could do it as well. It's just conversation, and he's gonna talk until he does. It doesn't matter anymore, and to him, it doesn't matter.
Well, he got $100 million from Spotify to talk for 3 hours, and it just reminds me of your boy out there in New York, your favorite guy. What's his name? The guy out there who got that good deal.
Stern.
Stern, yeah.
Joe Rogan is the Stern of podcasting. He is.
Well, people have it on in the background, and they just sit there and listen. They don't listen to the whole thing, but they'll tune it in and out. I guess during the radio days, people would just listen to it in the car during their commute. And in LA, a 3 hour drive is nothing. So
right. So you think we should do a 3 hour podcast, guys? What do you think?
No.
You sure?
Well, unless the viewers want us to.
You want us to have some? You want us to put guests on the show to do a 3 hour podcast?
I've gotten a little bit of feedback, and I've not heard that one as a please do that.
Please do a 3 hour. All right. Okay. All right. I'm done. That was my bit of a rant for the week. All right, Tim. It's time for the shout outs. Give us your shout out for American.
All right.
Podcast shout outs.
I don't give a lot of shout outs. I usually just, pass it on to the next week or whatever. But I think in this case, I think it's worth it. I'd like to give a shout out to my boy Raul. He's a mutual friend of ours. He congratulated me on getting a new job today, which was awesome. And then he had the nerve to ask me if I could get him a job there, which I thought was funny. And which is fine, I don't mind recommending people, but it's like, dude, I just started. I have like no pull. I have no seniority. I am low man on the totem pole. So it's like, what am I gonna do? But and that always cracks me up when people ask me about that. So anyway,
is that a shout out or a fuck off?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. But should we start calling them fuck offs now too? Shout out. Did you have a shout out or a fuck off? You know what? That's what we're gonna do from now on. I like that. Is this gonna be a shout out or both? How about that? All right.
Well, it would be shout outs from me and you and a fuck off from Tim.
Because he's the Iceman. Because only the Iceman would have fuck offs at the end of a show.
That's right.
Only the Iceman would do that. All right, Chris. Shout outs for you, my good friend.
I'm just trying to still catch my breath from choking on that water. So go.
What the hell, bro? Bringing up Joe Rogan, you got that water all choked up, man. All right, no shout outs for me. It's done. It's been a podcast, guys. This was fun actually. This is the good stuff, man. We actually just got a chance just to sit down and just shoot the shit and of course, get some stuff out. But if you guys
and of course and rile up George.
Yeah, get me all riled up, and that's the last thing you guys want to do because I start talking and I can't shut the fuck up. But anyway, it's done, guys. Listen, this is podcast number 15, right? Episode 15 for us. We are moving strong. We'll be back next week to give you more of what you asked for. I just want to thank, of course, these guys, Chris and Tim. I want to give out one big last shout out, of course, to the Dodgers for winning the World Series 2020. And
long time coming.
Of course, as we always do, we want more. So keep them coming, guys.
And we will be back as soon as the election's over. Tell you who won or might have won.
Yeah, that's the next. As a matter of fact, the next time we meet, we'll pretty much have an idea of the election stuff. So listen in on that.
I will make a prediction on this. I will go on a limb.
Kanye 2020.
Come Tuesday, Trump will still be president.
Well, yeah, for sure.
No matter what.
Tim, you're an idiot, Tim.
Yes.
You're an idiot.
Thank you.
Yes, you're an idiot. You're absolutely right, Tim. Good prediction. The question is will he be president on January 3rd?
That's the question.
If he is, Tim will commit suicide on February 1st.
Well, let's hope not, because I sure want Tim around. All right, guys, it's a wrap for us. Thank you guys for listening. Remember, subscribe, download. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, download the podcast. Be back next week for more. We love you guys. We're out of here. American Lunchbox Podcast.
Peace.
Peace.